At my mom's house, my room was in the basement, and the only way to get into the furnace room was through my room. The way my bed was set up, I was on the side that I could see directly into the furnace room, because there was no door separating my room from the furnace room. So one night when I was lying in bed, I saw a cat walk out of the furnace room, kind of look around my room, and after I blinked, it was gone. So after that, I talked to one of my friends whose family was friends with the people we bought the house from, and she told me that their cat actually died in the house. I'm not sure if it died in my room or not, though. Another time, I was suffering from an ear infection, but my mom would never believe me when I told her that I was having problems. She always thought I was doing it for attention or being dramatic. So again, I was lying in bed, not being able to do anything because of the pain, and there is a possibility I was hallucinating from the pain. But I saw a man standing in my doorway. He was around average height, but he was built and he had wide shoulders. I was watching him for around 10 seconds when I heard a deep man's voice ask me if I was okay. I didn't feel scared. It almost lessened the pain, and I fell asleep. Around a day or two later, my mom told me that she woke up to a man standing at the foot of her bed, and she felt him tapping her foot. She told the man to go away, and after she said that, she felt like she was being pushed into the bed. When she was describing the man, it matched exactly what I saw. One night when I was in bed, I was looking at the laundry room, which was open, and I saw a woman walk in wearing a white dress. I remember her being pretty and not creepy at all. So I walked into the laundry room and it was empty. So I went upstairs in the living room because my stepdad was still awake watching TV. So I told him what happened. He said he saw the same woman walk downstairs. One time when I was home alone, I was sitting on the couch watching TV. It was a couple of days after my brother's birthday, so he had one of those helium balloons in his room upstairs. So I was watching TV when I see the balloon floating down the stairs. It stops right in front of me, like something was trying to play with me. At first, I thought it could have been an open window, but I realized all the windows were closed. And it had to have left his room, floated down the stairs, and turned towards me, and then stopped, which kind of freaked me out. So I told my parents, but they laughed at me for getting freaked out by a balloon. But a couple of days later, the same thing happened to them. But the weird part was, they were sitting in different seats than I was, so I don't think it was a draft or anything. The last story freaked me out the most, but could have also been my imagination. I'm not sure. So one night I was in bed, and my stepdad had built a wall to cover the furnace room doorway that was in my room, and then made a doorway outside my room in the hallway, so it was easier to get in. As I'm lying there, I can see a shape of a person peeking into my room and then quickly ducking back into the furnace room. I watched whatever it was do that for around 10 minutes. But the weird part, it was really dark in my room, but whatever it was darker than that darkness, if that makes sense. I only saw that thing one time, so I don't know if it was me imagining it or not. Last March, my friends and I went to Chattanooga for my best friend's bachelorette party. We stayed at a beautiful Airbnb on the Tennessee River with a private and peaceful atmosphere. It was also on a nature trail, It felt isolated, but it was close enough to the city for us to have some fun. We had a great time out, and then we returned to the house where we started a fire. We relaxed until we got tired and went to bed. We decided to all bunk in the room that had 3 bunk beds and 1 regular bed. We wanted to watch a movie together, but in the end, we needed to sleep before the drive back more than a movie. Unlike my friends, I'm not used to falling asleep early, so I was wide awake and scrolling through my phone. I know it's a bad habit, but it's all I had. As I laid there, I started to get a bad feeling. I've had one paranormal experience before this, but it didn't scare me. I was just confused. This was different. My hair stood on end, like something with bad intentions was nearby. I looked at the others on the bunk beds, but they all seemed fine, so I kept scrolling. Only the feeling came back again, and this time, I looked towards the regular bed, where the bride and her little niece were sleeping. There was a dark figure standing over them, its head bent to stare at the little girl, and my heart stopped. I couldn't move. I kept telling myself it was just a shadow from the stairway. I looked down at my phone, hoping for the courage to text my boyfriend, though considering he doesn't believe in anything, he was no help. He just said I was seeing things, so we hung up. When I looked up again, the figure was gone. If anything, that made me feel even worse. It confirmed the figure was more than just a shadow from the stairway. I jumped out of bed, ran upstairs, and slept on the couch. I felt like a small child who had just watched a horror movie. I kept hearing the stairs creak, told myself it was just the house settling. I called my boyfriend back, and he eventually talked me down. I knew he was probably right, but I was still shaken up. I finally fell asleep around 4 when the creaking stopped. But I woke up around 6, and I had to go downstairs for my bag. A few minutes later, the maid of honor came upstairs looking confused and a bit freaked out. She asked if the bride had been upstairs, and I said only if it was during the 2 hours I was actually asleep. Apparently, it was about the time I'd woken up when she thought she saw the bride come up there. I told her it wasn't possible, but she insisted someone had gone up the stairs. Her face was white, and I told her to go see if everyone was still in bed. They were. We both stood in silent confusion for a moment before confirming that she saw it after I woke. I suggested that she might have heard me moving around. That's when she said she thought someone had been standing over the bride's niece, and my heart stopped. I didn't have to say anything. My face said it all, and she knew I saw it too. Needless to say, we were happy to get out of there without further investigation, but I felt guilty for not staying downstairs, now that I know it wasn't just my anxiety. I don't know if this is related, but a few months later, I learned that Hale's Bar is supposedly one of the most haunted places in Tennessee, and it's only 2 miles from that house. They also had an old cabin from the 1800s on the property, and it definitely had some weird vibes too. It probably didn't help that they had pictures of the original owners in there. I don't remember their names, so I can't search for a relation to the bar.